For starters, when I got the script for that episode, I was, they always write great stuff for me. The writers of the show are great, but they wrote great stuff in this episode, specifically the arc for the character. And literally, when I got to page 30 or whatever, and I saw the big turn, I was as shocked as you would have been watching it. But before that, I was just having a blast because they mimic so many shows. I mean, it's such a lark, the whole thing they do. And shooting it was as fun as you would expect it would be. So the sitcom set was just, I'm sure you've noticed some of the details, like there's a can of Smeat in the fridge. But the whole thing was just silly, quirky fun, and really, really eerily similar to an actual sitcom set. That one, CSI, which of course, maybe the easiest show to mock, and I thought it was pretty brave to write a line, you know who wears sunglasses at night? No talent douchebags. Yes, Mr. Caruso? Much? Okay. It was a blast, because they got, the director, Charles Beeson, was specifically mimicking all these styles. I mean, it wasn't just simply the writer wrote it and we executed it. It was very specific on how they, 3-camera sitcoms were shot, so they made specific choices about that, about how CSI is shot, and the pacing of the editing, and so the director had to do his homework, the montage of the kit car riding around. I mean, it's all very specific to those shows, so they had to do their homework, and it made for a very, very busy week. Gotta watch a lot of Bad Still commercials to get the genital warts thing down, or whatever it was. So they did their homework, and the result is, I think, really clever because it is supernatural, but it switches mediums so much during the show. I was watching it with my wife, watching the episode, and it starts that opening credit sequence. And she's seen the show because we've watched the show before, and she's watching the show, and they come on and they go, "Supernatural is filmed in front of a live audience." She turned to me and she goes, "It is?" And I had a couple of friends who watched that episode who hadn't seen the show before. And they're like, "Dude, that opening credit sequence doesn't make any sense. That's the dumbest thing I've ever..." It's a dark show. They have like this. I'm like, it's episode for people who like the show. And you're going to have to do your homework. But yeah, it was a long answer. It was a very fun episode to shoot. And then it made for, I think, a very creative turn when suddenly it's all back to being supernatural and dark. I think it made it fun for the boys and the director, and of course me, to do. Thank you for the question. Hello.
Hi. I just was wondering, with being on Mystery Spot and Tall Tales and then going to changing channels, what was it like kind of going from the
We stumped the band.
the kind of more quirky, fun character to going to a character like Gabriel. Me and my friend noticed that your voice did change a little bit when you were revealed to be Gabriel. I was wondering if there's any other, your thought process on that switch.
Yeah, that was interesting because it was a different person at that point, different entity. So you kind of have to make a choice. It's not, I still feel like Gabriel has a lot of the quirky fun entity of the trickster. He obviously has a little bit of that in him, or he wouldn't have chosen that as a persona. But when he finally makes that reveal, I felt very strongly that he had to, if he's going to lift off the identity mask, it has to be his personality mask as well. Whatever he was doing to, keep attention off of him, now goes away, and he's just the guy he was when he left the family so many eons ago. So, yeah, I did make specific choices about how, I wanted to shift the energy and bring it down. It was also aided by some really cool, dialogue that went that way, and some very cool shots from the director, that giant warehouse with the sweeping shots of the water. But it was a specific choice that I made because the trickster in previous episodes was, his purpose was clear. He was messing with the boys, but he was the trickster. He had his own motivation and everything. Who knew he was traveling incognito? It sort of changes the whole motivation, even when you go back to Mystery Spot, and how that ties into what Gabriel would have been thinking at the time. It's interesting. And so I try to keep that in mind while I'm changing him to Gabriel.
It's the ultimate trick.
It really is the ultimate trick, isn't it? Stroke your beard with me. Yeah, did I answer your
Yes,
question?
thank you.
Absolutely, thank you.